Welcome to our monthly update with David Cabot, our CEO and President of Prudential California Realty. David, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
How's the market?
You know, it's a very good market. We've been kind of bumping along the bottom for about a year and a half, and we expect that to continue for the next year, maybe another year and a half. So it's a very good time to buy. Prices have not dropped any further in most markets. In fact, they've stayed level.
Wow, exciting times. How about our company? How are we doing as a company within the market?
You know, we're doing very well. In our case, as opposed to some other cases, our agents have been able to capture a little bit more of the market share, and that way it allows them and us to succeed better in the market.
Wow, that's pretty exciting. So we're getting market share and our agents are doing better. Outstanding. You know, I recently read, David, that rents were rising about 4%. What does that mean for consumers today?
Well, as more and more houses sell with the short sales and the REO and the foreclosure market, more of those families are turning into renters. That's decreased the amount of vacancies in rentals, so rental rates are now coming up. Investors are starting to increase their rents. That makes buying a house in Southern California much more affordable than it was just a year ago.
Wow, exciting times. You know, I just recently read, you know, the Mortgage Bankers Association said mortgage applications are up, pending sales are up across each of our markets, so it seems like things are maybe turning around a little bit.
Yeah, that's accurate. Throughout Southern California, anyway from 3% up to 13% increase in pending sales in all of our markets.
Wow, exciting times. You know, one of the things, David, I wanted to ask you about is the banks, their strategy seems to be shifting from foreclosures to short sales, and can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, they're doing two things. Obviously, the foreclosure process is a much longer process. It's more expensive for them, and typically a foreclosed property or an REO sells for less than a short sale property would. So they're changing the strategy and going to short sale more. And recently, some of them that are short selling are now offering to allow the former owner to become a tenant in the property. So that's going to make it a little bit easier for people that are short selling, having a place to live.
Wow, so that it's less costly, more efficient, and makes things a little easier for everybody.
Absolutely.
Excellent. You know, one of the other things I recently read about was the higher conforming loan limit has been extended, and was wondering what you thought of that and how that could help.
Well, that has a dramatic effect in a couple of markets, Washington, D.C. and California being the two biggest markets, because our average sales price is a little bit higher than other areas. So with that conforming loan limit being at a higher level, it allows buyers and sellers to find better mortgages at lower rates for their products.
Oh, wow. Oh. Well, wrapping up here, what advice would you give our buyers in today's market? And then I'm going to ask you about sellers a little later, but for our buyers, what advice would you give them today?
Buy now and buy often.
Like that. Buy now and buy often.
But the reality is, if you're going to stay on a property for 3 to 5 years, it doesn't matter what the market is when you buy and sell, as long as you're doing both in the same market. So it's absolutely one of the better times in our life to buy a house. Mortgage rates are down, interest rates are down, the availability of product is increasing, meaning more houses on the market, and they're at better prices than they've been in the last 5 years.
Well, I guess that makes sense too, because we're seeing what some people call smart money. The investors are coming out. Are we seeing that?
A little over 20% of all of our sales are investors buying properties all cash.
Wow, that's quite a bit. So then sellers, what advice would you give sellers? Many of them are struggling today. Their properties may have been on the market longer than they thought. What would you tell our sellers today?
Well, you know, the most difficult thing for the seller is to price their home realistically. And they have to rely on their agent to provide them comparable information about their neighborhood. But the closer they can get to the market value of their house, the more quickly the product will sell.
Great. Well, thanks, David, for sharing this market update with us. And we'll look forward next month to another market update with David and the team.
Thank you.